D Cashmere here, and I am fancy for no reason. Alright, so I want to speak to you. Listen, Tiger King. You like my look? This is my Tiger King inspired look. Bounds, chains, and all. Binds. Pretty fire culture, the CBD. I needed to get me a little anxiety relief after that last one. So they said that at the end of Tiger King, the seventh episode is what really blows my mind, okay? Because they said that there's 4,000 tigers and lions and wild animals that are roaming the plains of the places that they belong, like Africa and India. Well, there is 5,000 to 10,000 that are in captivity here. And I know this is gonna sound left field, but what it made me think about is how caged we are as a race of people. Seems like a jump, but hear me now. When our great ancestors, Africans that came to be here in America, and us as Americans that have African ancestry, I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Sorry for my pauses. I don't want to say anything in the wrong way. But when they brought and when they came to be living an existence here, initially they were looked at, written into law as animals. We weren't looked at as people. We were hunted and we were shackled and we were caged and we were having to do with servitude and the literal process. Like, I saw a movie years ago that was banned in the Americas, but I found it in the French version of it, and it was called Uncle Tom's Cabin. And they show a raw depiction of what it was like for those ancestors, those great ancestors, how they were brought into troughs and housed outside like horses and pigs and cattle. We were our great ancestors, and because of that, we are branded with those things still today. And next year they're gonna have another movie about slavery, but won't talk about African ancestry. We are not just slaves, we were captives. Once again, the lions are captives. It's this thing where, and I'm not trying to sound shady when I say this, like, I got a lot of white friends, okay? And I love a lot of people of all races. I really think the more that we love, that'll bring us better and closer to a common denominator. But the facts is, even in Tiger King, most of the people that possessed the animals in these farms are Europeans. You know, they're Caucasians, they're white and they're male, okay? And there is this real need to want to possess something chain something down and be the owner of. Now, I know that may sound how it sounds talking now, but like till this day we still deal with red line districts, and it's clear where majority of brown complected people may stay. Like there's some people that can get to the height of the better part of the cage, the nicest area of the cage, and maybe even get to a better part of the zoo, and when in those neighborhoods, those dark-skinned complected people for the most part know how to walk in them. They know that if they are not behaving right, that they could possibly get put down or taken away, or everything be taken from them. So there's constant anxiety, watching the 7th episode of Tiger King truly blew my mind on so many levels, because it just all related so clearly to me. The fact that those are the most fierce animal on the African plains, and still there's a need to possess it. There's more being possessed and kept and fed a piece of what they can have or what they desire here in the United States right now than there is on the African plain, where it's their domain and they can walk freely, and when they eat, their mouths are capable. They get stronger because they're on their playing field. Like, that's why they don't want to send them out back to those places sometimes. It's inhumane. It's not nice, because like they gonna get ate up out there on their own place where they're supposed to be, because they're weaker. They're still strong. They're magnificent, but they're weaker because they've had to be within the confines of what they've been given, instead of able to roam freely without a problem. Look, this type of thinking on a deeper level, and not taking it and going, oh, hate, like anger. Once people that do not have the stains in their bloodlines, the sadness of not being able to know what their history is just a couple of generations back, the frustration of not being able to really say that they got some land, unless they're like in the last couple of generations of brown folks or Africans, that African Americans that have African ancestry. Like straight up, our African brethren, not to say that there aren't intelligent black people here on these soils, there's many, right? But like our African brethren, like they be neurosurgeons, and they come down here and I mean, just they're very smart. And they know their heritage, they know their history, they know where they come from, they know where their greats come from, they know what tribe they possibly are in, for the or you go far back enough, there's an empowerment about that. I was watching Trevor Noah, and since we've been in quarantine, he he has these heritage domes, these big circular vases, it looks like, behind him. And he was getting frustrated because a lot of people were like, oh, is these some sex things, and he's like, no, this is something that's passed down. I have no idea what he's talking about. Like, I have to research that. I don't know. I was watching, it greatly affected me. I was watching a YouTube video on this other woman, and it was talking about yoni steaming. And in the comments, this woman of African descent, or Nigerian African, she was speaking, and she was like, oh yes, this is what we do all the time, this is how we handle it. And you know how comments can get get messy real quick, right? And so, like, they had a few people that commented on it and was just like, then, well, you could give us the deets, sis. What's cracking? Yeah, I mean, like, what's happening out here? What's the details? And she hadn't replied back. And I decided to comment. I don't comment all the time, but I decided to comment. And I was just like, look, we appreciate you. Cousin. We don't know. Like, it's easy to have this air, but it's not our faults that we don't know. That part was taken from us. We had a different way that we grew up. We had survival that we learned after dealing with, like, finally being able, as people, like, in the 50s, to, like, get their own life. And it was still a struggle, let's say straight up to like the 70s. And then when that hit, right around in the 70s, we get the crack epidemic. And then that's another hit. And then now we've got, there's been a lot. There's been, after the crack epidemic of like the 80s and the 90s, it's a hard push. You see a left turn. It's depicting the fight against black people disrespecting each other, calling each other niggas and bitches, and hoes. And then now it's that has become a, like, it's a standard. Like, bitch, who you talking to, bitch? Like, I don't do that. I don't like that either. You know what I mean? But it's everyday conversation now. It's not even thought about. And now it's that included with the fight of seeing, like, still not seeing functional brown skin relationships. So now it's seeing, if you do see brown skin people, they are most often paired with other races. It doesn't show, there's not a lot of things that are out there with an example of seeing us being able to procreate peacefully in a happy way. I don't know if you've watched Nigerian and African films, but I mean, like, it's night and day, yo. Like, it's night and day. It really is. Anyways, my point in saying that is the dog was domesticated for so long that it changed from being a wolf. The breed got docile. Right now, it hits even harder because it's all in how you think, but we're all in cages. Very, very free cages. Yes, indeedy. I just want to open up the conversation that as African American people, we are very much conditioned on doing ever so much and constantly worried about our image and how we present ourselves so that we don't have no problems. Right? And the conversation amongst a lot of us conscious people in small numbers and crowds is just like, we need to do something. We've got to organize and we've got to get it together. And my thing is, if you know you're in a cage, there's only so much you're going to do, because you don't want to cut off your food supply. You don't want to cut off the environment that you've been given. Like, it's nice enough, you know what I mean? It's nice enough. And we got to work hard for everything that we've got, because me, you, others, we know of, and it's not like every now and then, like damn near everybody we know has a family member wrongly in prison, sitting in there since and I'm gonna say he, because that's how it is with us brown skinned folks, sitting in there since he was a child. He just became of age for manhood, or what would be considered manhood, 13, 14, 15. When you get those dose of hormones right before your brain cuts off at 15 years old, they restructure you, change you. We've all got people we know. Like, what do we do? And even though I do believe the more that we get closer and love each other and respect our different paths that we've decided to work in and survive off of. Like, I practice Ifa, and I know a lot of Christians. I've met Wiccans. I know Buddhists. I know I know atheists. Whatever means we take, like, we can respect those things and put those things to the side so that we can get to the place where we're comfortable with just communing with each other. Because there has been a lot of change. Like, we still got to watch out for our safety and all of that, but there's nothing stopping us but us. Like, Tiger King made me realize, like at the end when they showed the two chimpanzees that had been in cages for 10 years, and they put them in another place where they were able to have a bigger space, but they could touch each other. They embraced each other. They hugged each other. They showed compassion and love for each other. There was a wanting. There was a needing. And horrible visual, I guess, as black people, we know it being monkeys. But like, if you saw Tiger King like I saw Tiger King, that's what I saw. I said, you know what, god dang it, we need to know that we don't have the cages are in perimeter, but that perimeter is large. And the personal cages that we put ourselves in, it's us that's doing it. It's the fear that we have of each other that's been bred into us, just like everyone else. To fear black people, to fear Africa, to fear looking into ancestry, to fear practicing what our ancestors did, practicing what got them over and made them a strong, beautiful accomplished people, the people that started this planet, like the first man and woman on earth. Like, we have guilt just sewn into us so deep. This video has been way longer than what I expected. And I showed up fancy for no damn reason. Came and did all this for y'all. Little baby pooch. I know. I have 4. I'm raising black boys of all different skin tones, and they have to fight against learning a European system every single day. This time out and break has really just given me so much peace. You know, I never want them to hate their own. I never want them to hate other people. Like, they have friends of all races just like I do. But it's a power in understanding the truth. The very nuanced truth. I just wanted to have a discussion on what y'all thought about that. Y'all think I'm crazy, you know what I mean? Girl sat up here, watched Tiger King, and said I had talking about, this got to do with slavery. Is the girl crazy? Hey! I want to have a real conversation. Join me for the next one. This been D. Cashmere, Mokareen. Peace. And I am one. I am one. Bam. Ashe.